We are going to go ahead and start. Today, we are going to start standing at the top of our space. And I would encourage you, let me go ahead and mute everybody. All right. So today we're going to start at the top of our space and we're going to move our blanket somewhere off to the right, to the left. We don't really need that right now. The strap, you can do the same. The blocks, we're just going to put them at the highest setting at the top of our space. And the first thing I'd like you to do is just go ahead and stand there, hip distance apart. Go ahead and soften the gaze or close the eyes completely. And I want you to just get an idea of how it feels to be in the body. So I want you to see if you can spread your soles of your feet super duper wide and really feel the support beneath you. If you can notice, if you can root down in through the legs, into the feet, into the floor. If you notice what it feels like to maybe lift the shoulders and drop the shoulders, maybe circle them around. Maybe you need to circle the wrists a little bit, but just take a few moments to settle into your shape and just notice how you're settling into your body, you're settling into this moment. Fantastic. And then you'll go ahead and close your eyes and bring one hand on your heart, stack the other hand right on top of it. And just take a moment to breathe here into the hands, into the chest, into the heart. So, we are going to work today on really allowing ourselves to slow down. Our practice today is focused on bringing ourselves into the present moment. Good morning, Julie, to find a little bit more awareness of what's going on here and now. So you'll take 3 more breath cycles here and just notice what you notice in the body. Do you notice if you need to bend the knees a little bit? Do you notice if you need to relax any tension around your shoulders or your mouth? Can you take in a deeper breath into the chest and the belly? And then just at the end of this next exhalation, you'll gently allow the hands to fall alongside your hips. And then let's go ahead, Julie, we're going to start standing. Grab both of your blocks. And you're going to separate your feet a little wider than hips distance, and you're going to put your blocks right at your hip crease, and you're going to fold over your blocks. The hands will then come down to the floor, and you'll just let your head drop. Now, the task here is to just really let the head drop. Some of you may bend your knees if that feels better for you. We are finding a stretch in the low back. That doesn't feel good? Okay, don't do it then, Sandy. Yeah, don't do it then, Sandy. And you're just taking a moment to breathe. You can use a blanket if that's better for you, Sandy, or widen your feet further apart. And you just let the head hang and you breathe and you notice what this feels like. Some of you might bend your knees, some of you might keep your legs straight. We're just trying to feel a stretch that's happening on the low back, a rooting into the feet. Fantastic. And we'll just take 4 more breath cycles here, letting the head be heavy, bending the knees as much as you need to in order to touch the floor. Fantastic. At the end of this next exhalation, let's inhale and halfway lift. You'll go ahead and remove your blocks and put your blocks underneath your shoulders. You might need to turn them down depending upon the length of your arms. And then you'll bend both of your knees very actively and step your right foot long and back. Now with your right foot long and back in that low lunge, make sure you're pushing down from your left hip down into your left heel. You're lifting your right inner thigh slightly, hugging your outer hips in, and we're going to take 5 rounds of deep breath here. So you're lifting up through the back thigh. You might start to reach your heart forward. Continue to push down into your front heel. Hug the back foot in, and you just pause and you breathe and you pause and you breathe. And we've got about 2 more breath cycles here. Long, slow, deep breaths. Nice work. On your next inhale, take a deep breath in. And then as you exhale, bend the back knee and step to the top of your space. Once you get to the top of your space without the block, just notice what it feels like to fold forward now. Notice if there's a little bit more space, if you feel a difference between your right side and your left side. And then as we're ready, we'll inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bend your knees. And now step the opposite leg back, your left leg back. And you just pause here for a few breath cycles. So again, you push down into the center of your right heel. So from your right butt cheek straight down into your right heel. Push down into your left big toe as you lift the left thigh up a smidge. Hug your outer hips in and then maybe reach your heart forward in one long line. And then we just pause and we breathe. And we've got about 4 more steady, deep, full breaths. And you just notice we're trying to get activation happening in the legs pretty quickly. And we're just noticing the breath, noticing the movement of the breath, noticing the energy and the heat in our legs and feet. Fantastic. On your next in-breath, you're going to shift your weight forward a little bit. Remove your blocks, so move them to the right and to the left. Plant your palms and step your front leg back into a plank pose. Great, and you'll pause here again for 5 rounds of breath. Push down into the hands, push down into the feet. Reach your heart forward just a smidge, yep, and you just breathe 5 complete rounds. Big breath in, big breath out. Fantastic. The end of your next inhalation, you'll shift your weight forward and exhale all the way down to the floor. Nice job, guys. When you're on your abdomen, extend the tops of the feet to the floor. Go ahead and isometrically push down into your hands. Pull the hands back, pull the heart forward, and come into a baby cobra. Now, today, we're going to pause here. So we're going to be here for about 5 breaths. So really pull the hands back, hug your shoulders together, lightly press your toes down, and then see if you can reach the back of your crown out of your neck. And you just pause and you breathe. You pause and you breathe. Back body is engaged. We're not pushing down so much to lift up. It's more that back body's doing it. Nice work. On your next exhalation, lower all the way down. Inhale up to hands and knees. And then at this point, if you'd like, pad your knees with the blanket. And then you'll shift your weight back for Anahatasana. So keep your hips over your knees. Walk your hands forward and melt your heart towards the floor. And again, you'll take 5 steady breaths. And so your armpits are lifting up and away from the floor. Your hands are pushing down and forward, and your outer hips are lifting up. Your pubic bone is reaching back, and 5 steady breaths. Nice work. Next inhalation, let's come forward to hands and knees. Walk your knees, ankles, and shins together. Curl all 10 toes under, and just go ahead and sit yourself back for toe squat. And we've got 5 steady breaths here. And you're just sitting tall. You're noticing if you can keep the shoulders down, the collarbones open, and you're just breathing 5 steady breaths. Big breath in, big breath out. Just noticing what that feels like. Nice work. On your next inhalation, let's go ahead and come forward to hands and knees. As you exhale, curl the toes under or keep them under and lift your hips up, downward facing dog. So we're not going to do a counter stretch today, directly to downward facing dog. And then here's your first down dog. So can you integrate some of the aspects of Anahatasana? So your armpits lift up, you push the hands down and forward, you lift your outer hips up, and you just pause and you breathe. And you just notice what you notice for these 5 deep breaths. Nice work. Inhale, sweep your right leg up and back. As you exhale, step your right foot quietly between your hands. Bring your hands to your blocks. So, some of you might want to step your left foot a smidge to the left, or you might stay exactly as you are. Pay attention to your right foot. From your right sit bone, push down into your right heel, then push into your left big toe and hug those 2 points together. From there, reach your heart forward, and then you're going to start to come to the tops of your fingertips on your blocks. Then you're going to start to bring your hands to your hips, and then you'll bring your spine up to vertical. Nice, fantastic. Okay, so now once we're vertical, again, push from your right sit bone to the center of your right heel. Yep. And then some of you will stay right here, hands on hips. Some of you will reach your arms out and up and overhead. And we're going to take 5 deep breaths. So the more you can push from your right sit bone to your right heel, it might require that you bend that front knee just a little bit. And then you push into your left big toe and you pull the left big toe forward. You pull the right heel back. You hug that all together. Nice work. On your next exhalation, hands come back down to the blocks. Fantastic. Listen closely. Shift your blocks forward, shift your weight forward, float your back leg parallel to the floor. So walk the blocks forward, walk your weight forward. There we go. So now we're in this warrior 3 variation, and you'll just pause, look back at your back toes, make sure the left toes are pointing straight down, your outer left hip drops a little bit more to the floor. Great. Now, on your next exhale, left knee to nose, come up to stand, one-legged Tadasana. Nice job. Pull the left knee higher, bring the hands to heart center, and flex that left foot. Great. And you just pause and you breathe. We're trying to train Vata to go down. So if you feel wobbling in your ankles, that's fine. That's the Vata. We're pushing it down. The end of your next exhalation, bend your right knee, cross your left ankle over the top of your right thigh, hinge your heart forward, send your butt back, maybe hands come to the blocks underneath you for seated figure 4. And you've got 5 breaths. And you're going to slow down and you just notice. You pause and you breathe. You bend into the supporting leg. You send your butt back, you send your heart forward, and you notice. We're starting strong. We're doing a lot of balancing poses, and we're just trying to focus our energy. Now we're going to start to come out of this. So you'll bend your supporting leg even more. You'll reach your heart forward. You'll bring your hands to heart center. You'll push down into that right leg. You'll float your left leg up for one-legged Tadasana. Start to bend your right leg. Step your left leg long and back, high crescent lunge. Take your time. Pause. Find the shape. Push from the right sit bone down to the right heel. Push into the left big toe. Hug those points together. And then notice if you need to square your hips, so hugging the outer hips in. If you want to reach the arms up or keep them at heart center, but you just pause and you take your 5 deep breaths. Nice work. At the end of your next exhalation, hands come back to the blocks, low lunge. Pause here. Straighten your front leg. You might want to walk the blocks back so they're underneath your shoulders. You might want to walk the back foot forward just a smidge if it feels like it's too long of a stance. But you're just going to take a couple breath cycles here and you just notice, where is the breath moving in the body right now? How can you allow that to influence the expression of the shape, what it feels like to you, maybe even what it looks like to you? Nice job. Next in breath, bend your front knee, bend your back knee, step your back foot forward. And then pause. You're in your forward fold and just take a moment to hang forward and just notice if you notice anything. So this was the first shape we started in. How does it feel now? There are things that happen to us all the time, and we have to momentarily take a time to check back in to see the impact of our actions. Cool. This is going to be awkward, so I'm sorry in advance. Let's go ahead and bend your knees quite vigorously, like a 90-degree angle. Yeah. And then walk your hands back enough that you can put the sole of your palm on the floor. Whole hand on the floor, shoulder distance apart. Now keep your arms straight and step your right foot back. Step your left foot back. Hello, we're in plank. Hooray for us. Okay, and then you just pause and you breathe. And we've got 5 steady breaths. Do you notice if the inhale and the exhale are even? Does one of them feel a little bit shorter? Does one of them feel a little bit stronger? Nice work. On your next in breath, you'll shift your weight forward. Bottom of the exhale, lower all the way down. Fantastic. Nice work, guys. Again, extend the tops of the feet to the floor. Press down into your big toenails and pinky toenails. Isometrically push down into the floor. Pull the hands back isometrically. Pull the heart forward. Notice if you can spread isometrically, thumbs towards your pinkies, hugging the elbows closer towards each other. And then feel like you're lifting the back of your skull, the nape of your neck out of the spine, just a little bit to find a little bit more forward lift. Nice work. 3 more breath cycles. Keep breathing. See if you can hug the shoulders onto the back body a little bit more. Nice work. Next exhale, lower all the way down. Okay. Inhale back to hands and knees. Pad your knees if you want to, or skip Anahatasana, 5 breaths. So your hands walk forward, your chest melts down, your hips lift up and back. And you just pause and you breathe. And you notice what's unique about this moment in this shape. How does your forehead feel in contact with the floor? Oh, Sandy, your wife has a boot on. And you just pause and you breathe. You pause and you breathe. Nice work. Next inhale, come up to hands and knees. Again, walk the knees, ankles, and shins together. Curl all 10 toes under and sit back for toe squat once again. And you just pause and you breathe. And you notice what you notice here. How can you maybe open the collarbones a little bit more? How can you extend up more through the crown of your head and find the full length of your vertebral column down the back? Nice. The end of your next exhalation, you'll inhale and come forward, hands and knees once again, and then back to downward facing dog. 5 deep breaths. And you just notice, how does it feel to be in the body right now? What do you notice in your environment? What sounds do you experience? What temperature or air touches your skin? What clothing or fabric? We're allowing ourselves the opportunity to be present to our lives as they are. Let's go ahead and switch sides. So inhale, sweep your left leg up and back. Yep. And then exhale, step that foot quietly between your hands. Nice. From here, we'll bring our hands to our blocks. Okay, first things first, with your front foot, you're going to press from the center of your left butt cheek straight down into your left heel, and then push into your right big toe mound. Hug both those points together. Hug your outer hips in a smidge, and then see if you can make your fingertips light. Yep. From there, bring your hands to your hips as the heart reaches forward. Yep. And then bring your spine all the way up to vertical. Fantastic. So much more balance on this side. Some of you will just stay here, hugging your outer hips in, hugging the feet towards each other. Some of you might reach your arms out and up and overhead. And again, we've got our 5 steady breaths. It's very interesting how sometimes being present is really hard, but it's a skill we can learn. I mean, look at how strong you all are on the second side. Fantastic. Go team. All right, you got 3 more breaths. Continue to bend into your front knee by pushing down into that left heel from the center of your bum. Nice job. On your next exhale, hands come back down to your blocks. Listen closely. Walk your blocks forward. Shift your weight forward. Float your back leg parallel to the floor. Yeah. And then you might take a peek and make sure the back leg, the right toes are pointed straight down. Yep. And then from there, you're going to curl your knee, your right knee to your nose and come up to stand in one-legged Tadasana. Wobbling's A-OK. Nice job. Once you're there, hands to heart center. Draw the right knee up, flex through the right foot, and you just pause. The more you can drop your right sit bone down, ironically enough, you can lift the right knee, which will also give you stability in the left leg. Great. When you're ready, you'll start to externally rotate the right leg, bend the left knee, cross the right ankle on the top of your left thigh, hinge at the hips, send your heart forward. Maybe hands come to blocks or floor, flex through that right foot a lot. And you've got 5. There you go, Barbara. 5 deep breaths. Nice, Julie. Nice, Robin. Nice, Steve. Nice, Erica. Nice, Sandy. And you just got 5 deep breaths. Notice if you can continue to bend in your supporting leg, that's the left leg. And you'll observe that if the right knee lifts a smidge, you might get more sensation on the outer right hip than if the right knee drops. Yep. And you just pause and you breathe. Okay. And now to come out of this, the weight has to transfer into the left leg. So you'll bend your knees a little bit more. You'll reach your heart forward. You'll shift the weight into the left leg. You'll bring the hands to heart center. You'll come back up to stand one-legged Tadasana. Fantastic. And then start to bend the supporting leg. Step the right leg long and back. High crescent lunge. And then pause. Find your foundation. Do you need to bend into the front knee a little bit more? Drawing your left sit bone straight down into your left foot. Right big toe mound pushes down, both points hug together, outer hips hug in, maybe arms reach up. But you just notice. You're all doing it. Fantastic. You just notice, you just breathe. Nice. On your next exhalation, hands come back down to your blocks. Pause. You might walk your blocks back as you straighten your front leg. You might walk your back leg in as you straighten your front leg. But you'll take about 5 breaths in this modified pyramid pose. And you just pause and you breathe. And you just pause and you breathe. And you just notice, how can you find more length on the front of the body? Maybe the sternum and heart can come forward a smidge. Yeah. Maybe you can draw the shoulders away from the ears just a little bit. Nice. All right. Listen very closely. Bend your front knee, bend your back knee, step to the top of your space. Great. And then you'll just take a moment here, feet hip distance apart, hands connected to the floor as best as you can. And you just pause and you breathe and you notice what you notice. Cool. Here goes our awkward transition once again. Let's go ahead and inhale, reach your heart forward, halfway lift. As you exhale, fold in once again. Now this time, bend your knees, plant your palms on the mat, reach your heart forward as best as you can, and then step your left leg back and your right leg back. Hooray, back to awkward plank. And we've got 5 breaths. And you just notice, how can you push the floor away a little bit more so the upper back rounds just a smidge? How can you hug your outer glutes in just a little bit so the legs are doing just as much work as the arms? Where's the breath? Where's the mind? On your next in breath, go ahead and shift your weight forward. As you exhale, lower all the way down. Nice work. And then just as we've done before, tops of the feet to the floor. Press down into the palms. Pull your hands back to pull your heart forward. Draw your thumbs isometrically out to your pinky finger so you feel that broadening across the collarbones and the narrowing of the elbows. And then you might notice that if you actually think of lifting the tops of your ears up just a smidge, it does find length in the back of the cervical spine. Yeah. And then go ahead and exhale, lower all the way down. Inhale up to hands and knees. And then again back to Anahatasana. So your hands walk forward, your heart melts down, your sit bones lift and widen. And you just pause and you breathe. And you just notice, what are you experiencing in this moment in your body? Nice work. 2 more breath cycles here. Long, steady, smooth breaths. Okay. On your next in-breath, let's come back to hands and knees. Toe squat once again. So walk the knees, ankles, and shins together. Press your bum back towards your heels and come up to sit. And when you sit this time, can you be as vertical in the spine as possible? And then just focus on the breath. We're not doing much today. We're just focusing on the breath. Where is it alive and active in your body? Nice work. Next in-breath, let's go ahead and come forward, hands and knees. And then exhale back to downward facing dog. Okay. 5 steady breaths. I can't speak for any of you, but I know for myself, I've been running around like a chicken with its head cut off. I've been doing too many things. It's probably how I got concussed. Well, that's exactly how I got concussed. And so we're just taking the opportunity to remind ourselves that we can always slow down. Nothing is so important that we cannot take the time needed. All right, let's move on. On your next in breath, sweep your right leg up and back. As you exhale, step your right foot between your hands. Pause here. Bring your hands to your blocks once again. Okay. Push down into the center of your right foot. Lift your inner left thigh just a smidge. And I want you to really think of focusing your right butt going down to your right heel. Then keep lifting your inner left thigh and spin your left foot to the floor for warrior 2. So it's coming from a lifting of the inner thigh. And then once the feet are established, then you'll inhale and bring the spine up to vertical. And then just pause. So really, again, notice if your feet are where you would like them to be in this moment, and if not, adjust. And then you'll continue to bend into your front knee and draw your right sit bone down into your right heel, and then reach your left sit bone down to your left heel. And then notice if you'd like to extend your arms out parallel to the floor. Soften around the shoulders. Yep. And take your focus over your middle finger of the front hand. And you've got 5 deep breaths. Notice if you're still reaching as far or with as energetically through the back hand as you are through the front. Notice how it feels to just be in the shape a little bit longer than normal. Nice. On your next in-breath, you're going to reach your right arm straight up to the sky. We're going to have a Tom Cruise moment. So right arm straight up to the sky. Left hand can touch wherever it touches on the left leg. But I want you to pull up with your right hand and then start to reach your head up and back towards the left. So we're having a Tom Cruise Mission Impossible moment, like you're hanging from a rock for some unknown reason. And we're trying to find all that stretch across the intercostal, so the muscles of the ribs on your right side. And you're just pausing and you're breathing and you're noticing what that feels like. And then on your next in breath, return to normal warrior two. This time, as you exhale, you'll reach forward through the right hand, maybe lowering right forearm to the top of right thigh, maybe lowering right hand down to the block, and then extend your left arm alongside your ears for extended side angle. And I want you to pay attention to the orientation of your pelvis. For me, I had to slide my back heel back just a smidge so my left hip could roll forward and it felt like there was more room for my tailbone to slide back. But you notice what feels good to you, and you've just got your 5 deep breaths. Staying engaged with the feet, staying engaged with the breath. Nice work. Last 2 breath cycles here. Notice where you can soften a little bit. Nice work. All right, gently turn your gaze to the floor. Bring your hands to your blocks. Pivot to the ball of your back foot. This might be a great opportunity to pad your back knee, but you can choose to do whatever the heck you want. And then you're going to lower your back knee to the mat. Okay. From there, you're going to push into your front foot like we've been doing the whole time, from the center of your butt down to your heel. Push down into the center of your back knee this time and start to hug those points together to bring your spine up to vertical. Yeah, all right. Some of you are going to just bring your hands to heart center and just really push your sternum into your thumbs push back into your sternum, and you will stay here, hugging your back knee forward and pulling your front foot back. Some of you will take an inhale, lift a little bit higher, and then as you exhale, you'll start to rotate to your right. Now, as you turn to your right, you're going to take your left hand and hold the outside edge of your right thigh. And then you're going to keep pushing your thumb into your sternum into your thumb, and start to rotate a little bit more towards the right. You'll keep pulling with your left hand, pushing out with your right thigh just a bit. And then some of you will reach your right arm back behind you for a revolution. And then you just pause and you'll breathe, and you'll pause and you'll breathe. And you'll pause and you'll breathe. And you'll just notice what that feels like. Nice. On your next in-breath, gently unwind, come back to face the front of your space. As you exhale, bring your hands to your blocks. Shift your butt back and straighten your front leg long. You might slide your front heel forward a little bit, but we want to keep our left hip over our left knee, very similar to what we were doing in Anahatasana. And then you might pull all 5 toes of the right foot back. And then see if you can reach your heart and sternum forward a smidge. Yeah. And then you just pause and you breathe, and you pause and you breathe. And you just notice what you notice. Great. 3 more breath cycles here. Just notice how you can be in the stillness just a little bit. Great. Next in breath, let's go ahead and shift our weight forward. Lower the sole of the right foot to the floor. Curl the back toes under if they're not. Straighten your back leg long. All right, this is going to be weird. You're going to wiggle walk your right foot to the right. Wiggle walk your right foot to the right. Fantastic. Now you're going to bend your back knee and you're going to step to the top of your space in a wide-legged Uttanasana. So it's a wider Uttanasana. There we go. And then you'll just take a moment to hang there, and you'll notice what it feels like to be in this forward fold with the feet slightly wider. Okay. Now we're going to go back to something awkward we previously did. So bend your knees to about a 90-degree angle. Reach your heart forward. Palms are on the floor for a moment. Now this is going to be weird. You're going to bring your hands to your heart center as you're in this weird sumo squat. Okay. And then see if you can bring your spine up to center, or vertical rather, just your spine. Keep bending your knees. So spine comes up to vertical. You're in this weird wide-legged chair pose. So Erica, bring your spine a little bit more upright if you can. There we go. And then on your next exhale, straighten the legs, stand tall. Fantastic. Walk your feet hip distance apart. Close your eyes. Place a hand on the heart. Place the other hand directly on top of it, right where we started. Just notice what you notice. How's the body right now? Where do you feel sensations? Where do you feel heat, warmth, energy? Where do you sense your own sense of aliveness and alertness? Once you've found that, you'll just take a couple breath cycles into that spot. And then we'll gently release our hands, open the eyes if they're closed. Let's move on. Inhale, circle sweep your arms up and overhead. As you exhale, fold forward at your hips. Uttanasana, forward fold. Okay, inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold in. All right, bend your knees to 90 degrees. Plant your palms on the mat, and then step your right foot back and your left foot back to plank. Great, 5 breaths. And you just notice what it feels like. How's the body now? How's the breath now? How are you now? 2 more breath cycles here. The end of your next exhalation, you'll inhale, shift your weight forward. As you exhale, lower all the way down. Nice. From there, extend the tops of the feet to the floor, push down into the hands and pull yourself forward into cobra. And you'll notice if your cobra is any higher, if it's any lower, if it's about the same. Doesn't matter. What matters is how you're observing what's happening, how you're breathing into what's happening, how you're adjusting to the sensations, the signals of your body. Nice work. The end of your next exhale, lower all the way down. Great. Inhale to hands and knees once again. And exhale back to Anahatasana last time. And you just pause and you breathe. Is it the same as it was before? Is it slightly different? Does not matter. But what's the level of your attention to this moment? Three more breath cycles on your own. Nice. Okay, when you're ready, you'll inhale back to hands and knees. And then exhale back to toe squat. Final time. And you just notice how toe squats work in this moment. Can you soften any tension around your shoulders? Can you just let yourself be in the shape with your breath, with the sensations and experiences that you are having? When you're ready, you'll inhale, come forward to hands and knees, and you'll exhale back to downward facing dog for 5 steady breaths. And as you're here in this down dog this time, notice if you can spiral your inner thighs back just a smidge more and lift the outer hips just a little bit higher. Yep. Notice if you can allow the neck to elongate out of the spine and just the ears drop in between your upper arm bones. Last set, last side. Inhale, sweep your left leg up and back. As you exhale, step the foot quietly between your hands. Fantastic. Bring your hands to your blocks. The first thing you're going to focus on really again is pushing from your left sit bone down to your left heel. Really drive that down. Then lift up through your inner right thigh and start start to externally rotate that back leg so you can put the whole sole of the right foot on the floor. Now, really push down into the legs and then start to bring the spine up, right, for warrior two. Nice. And when your spine is more upright, notice if you need to adjust your feet so it feels comfortable in your sacrum. And then you might extend the arms out parallel-ish to the floor. And then you'll take your gaze over the center of your front hand, so the middle finger of that left hand. And then can you sense the right hand? Are you as engaged with the right hand as you are with the left? Can you soften the shoulders as you deepen the breath? Nice. On your next in breath, the left arm will reach straight up. The right arm will probably touch somewhere on the right thigh. And you're going to have your Tom Cruise Mission Impossible moment. So really pull up, or I guess down, depending upon how you think about this. And you're finding that stretch all along your left side body, finding stretch between the ribs, between the shoulders and the hips, elongation in the waist, and maybe your head drips up and to the right, finding a long stretch across the neck as well. Nice. And then when you're ready, you'll return to warrior two. On your next exhale, you'll reach forward through that left arm. Maybe left forearm comes to top of left thigh. Maybe left hand comes to the block or the floor. And then your right arm extends alongside your ears. And then check in. How's your pelvis? Do you need to adjust the feet at all? Do you need to adjust the arms so the shoulders feel comfortable? Do you need to adjust the ribs so you find a deeper breath? And you just pause and you breathe. Nice work. On your next in-breath, the gaze comes to the floor. The hands come to the floor, pivot to the ball of your back foot. Perhaps you pad your back knee and then you lower your right knee to the floor. Great. And then from here, same thing as before, really drive your left sit bone to your left heel, push down into your right knee, make the hands light, and start to bring the spine up to vertical. Great. And when we get there, hands will come to heart center. Really feel the weight of your thumbs into your sternum and push your sternum back into your thumbs. Some of you will start or stay here. Some of you will start to lift up more through the vertebra and then start to exhale to your left. And as you go to the left, you might release your right hand to the outside edge of your left thigh, and you really pull the thigh to the right as you push it to the left. Press your sternum into thumb and rotate more of your rib cage to the left. And then you might reach your left arm back. And you just pause and you breathe, and you pause and you breathe. Nice. And then on your next in-breath, gently unwind. Bring your hands down to your blocks. Shift your weight back, straighten your front leg, and take a few breaths here in Ardha Hanumanasana, half monkey pose or half splits. And again, we want to make sure your right hip is over your right knee. So you might need to slide your left foot forward. And then you send your pubic bone back and your heart forward. Yeah, and see if you can pull all 5 toes of the left foot towards your left knee up towards your face. And you just breathe. And you just pause and you just breathe. Nice. And then when you're ready, let's go ahead and inhale, shift our weight forward. Plant the foot, tuck the back toes under if they're not, straighten the back leg long. Wiggle walk your left foot to the left just a smidge. Then you're going to bend your back knee and step to a wide Uttanasana at the top of your space. There we go, fantastic. And then you just take a moment to hang at the top of your space in this wide Uttanasana, just feeling what that feels like. And then let's go ahead and inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold in. Plant your palms on the mat. Inhale, bend your knees to about a 90-degree angle. Now, again, you're going to think this time. I want you to see if you can bring your elbows slightly inside of your knees. Push your knees into your elbows out into your knees. Keep that, bend your knees even more. Bring your hands to heart center. Now bring your spine to vertical. So imagine you're still hugging your elbows out into your knees into your elbows, and you're in this weird Utkatasana chair pose where you're just wider and you're sitting upright. Great. There we go. Next exhale, stand all the way up. All right. Some of you are going to walk your feet wider apart. Some of you are going to keep them right as they are. All right. Inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead. And as you exhale, sit down for malasana. So your butt goes in between your feet towards the floor. There we go. And you pause and you breathe. And you've got 5 breath cycles here. And you just notice. Do you need to add the blanket underneath your heels? Do you need to add a block underneath your butt? You just pause and you breathe. See if you can reach your heart forward and up, keeping the heart space open. Great. Now, those of you that are on a block, you'll want to remove your block and then you're going to sit down on the floor. When you sit down, we're going to take Vata Konasana first. So soles of the feet together, knees open and splayed like a book. And then pull your feet towards your pelvis. Pull your heart through the gates of your arms and just take a few breaths to be here. Some of you will stay right here, just breathing. Some of you might want to start to hinge forward from your pelvis, maybe drawing your head a little closer to the floor or towards your feet. But you'll just take a few breaths here. Nice. Calm, steady, smooth breaths. Great. Go ahead and start to come out of this. Go ahead and open your legs wide for your Upavista Konasana. It doesn't have to be super wide, but just wide enough for you. And then you might want to grab one or both of your blocks. The block can be used to support your forehead. It can also be used to support your abdomen if you're pretty flexible, can just flop right over. But otherwise, we're just going to start to hinge at our hips. Maybe you lower your block or your elbows down to your blocks. You can do that as well. Maybe you put a block underneath your forehead. Maybe your belly comes all the way to the floor, or maybe you want to put a block underneath your abdomen. But you've just got a few breath cycles here, and you just notice what you notice. Your big toes the balls of the big toes are pressing forward. You're pulling all 5 toes of each leg back towards your kneecap. And you just pause and you breathe. Nice. As you're ready, start to walk your spine up and out of the shape. If the blocks are in front of you, go ahead and move them. Bring your hands underneath your knees like little scoops and walk your legs together. And then all of you are going to turn around and face the back of your space. When you come to face the back of your space, now our block should be somewhere near our head, so that's great. And maybe your strap should also be somewhere near your head, so that's also great. And then you're going to slowly lower all the way down to your back, slower than you want to. And the first thing that you'll do once you get to your back, you take your time, is you'll widen your feet outside of your hips. You'll let your knees knock in towards each other. You'll wrap your arms around your torso and you'll give yourself a hug for constructive rest. And you'll just take about 5 steady breaths. You'll notice if you can really allow the weight of the knees to cascade into each other. If you can really allow the soles of the feet to spread and root. If you can allow the space between the shoulder blades to widen, the shoulder blade itself to soften, the arms to be heavy, your face to be relaxed. And after you've taken 5 breaths with this arm on top, you'll inhale and open the arms wide and then switch which arm is on top. And again, you just give yourself permission to fall in to this moment. It's interesting because sometimes when we slow down, it can become uncomfortable. It can invite a sense of anxiety or worry or resistance. Sometimes it can cause us to check out. And you just notice what your reaction is. All of it's okay. We just want to notice. And then once we notice what our reaction is, we might begin to inquire why. And then we might begin to ask, is this serving me? All right. Some of you are going to stay right here and just stay right here, and that's totally fine. Some of you are going to walk your feet hip distance apart. You're going to go ahead and draw your right knee into your chest. Some of you will grab at the back of your right thigh. Some of you will grab your strap and put your strap across the ball of your right foot. And all of us that are doing this will reach our right foot up towards the sky. Now we're trying to find a 90-degree angle between our right thigh and our torso. So the leg's not too close. So you'll find that 90-degree angle. And then some of you will keep your left leg bent. Some of you will slide your left leg long on the floor beneath you. If you are holding on to the back of your leg, can you do it in a way where you're not doing the ballet death grip? And if you're holding on to the strap, can you notice if both shoulders can inch away from your ears? Yeah. If your heart can continue to remain open. And then all of us keep breathing. Sandy, can you draw the back of your skull up towards the top of your mat? Sounds weird. Mm. Yeah, there you go. So just to lengthen the back of your neck. And you just pause and you breathe and you just notice what you notice here. You've got about 4 more breath cycles here. And just experiencing the lengthening of your hamstrings, the deepening of your breath. At the end of your next exhalation, if the left leg is bent, bend the left knee, put the left foot back on the floor. Bend the right knee, release the strap if you have it, and put the foot back down. Pause. Just notice what you notice between the sides. No rush. And then when you're ready, we'll try the other side. So left knee comes into the chest. Some of you will grab at the back of the left thigh. Some of you will use the strap across the ball of your left foot. And then if you're choosing to participate, you'll lift the left leg up towards the sky. And then we're finding a 90-degree angle in that hip crease. Some of you will stay here with the right leg bent. Some of you might walk the right leg long on the floor beneath you. And then no matter where you are, notice how you can find more ease in the shape. So if you've got a death grip going on the back of the left leg, see if you can relax the hands just a smidge. If your ears are pretty much ear muffs, or rather shoulders or ear muffs, see if you can let your ears be free and your shoulders be loose. That made no sense, but that was a funny image. And then you'll just pause and you'll breathe. And now this time as you're breathing, can you notice where the breath is? Do you notice it more in your abdomen? Is it wide in the rib cage? Is it in the upper chest? Where is the breath? And then you've got 5 deep breaths here, and you just notice where's the breath. All right. The end of your next exhalation, if your right leg is straight, bend the right knee, plant the right foot on the floor. Then draw the left knee in, release the strap if you have it, and put the right foot, or rather the left foot, next to the right. And then from here, you're going to go ahead and draw the soles of your feet together, open the knees wide like a book, and you've got those blocks. If you want to use your blocks, you can put them to the outer edges of your thighs. And then maybe the hands rest on the heart and the abdomen. Maybe they rest on the chest or on the floor. Or you take 5 deep breaths. And just notice, how do you feel? How's the body working right now? Fantastic. All right. From here, let's bring our hands to the outer edges of our thighs and close our knees together like a book. You might want to move your blocks for the time being. And then open your arms out into a T shape or a cactus shape, whatever works for you. Push down through your feet, lift your hips up and slide them slightly to the right. Put your butt back down. Now reach your right leg up, cross your right thigh over, and then let both legs fall over to your left. And then make the adjustments that you need to for you to feel comfortable in this. So some of you might push down into the back of your skull and lift up your right shoulder and slide it a little bit to the right so that the left shoulder will come back down. Actually, I think it should have gone the other way. And then you might pause. You might draw the knees a little closer to that left elbow or armpit. They might stay right outside in line with the hips. But you just pause and you breathe and you notice what it feels like in your physical being right here, right now. What does the floor feel like underneath your right arm? What is the outer left knee and shin? What is it touching? What is the texture of what it may be touching or may not be touching? Can you feel which part of your back is in contact with the floor and which part has space? And then, of course, where is your breath? On your next in breath, you'll gently unwind. You'll come back to center. You will pause for 3 breath cycles. Now, it's possible because of the concussion, but this is the first time coming out of a twist that I actually felt a spiral when I came out of it. I thought it was kind of fun. I want you to just notice what you notice. There's this teacher I take often with. Her name is Karina Benner. She often says, "You don't feel the spirals until you come out of it." I'm like, I've never felt a spiral, but recently I'm like, oh, there's the spiral. All right, and then we'll try the other side. So arms back into the T shape. Push down through your feet, lift your hips up, slide them slightly to the left, and then lift your left leg up, cross your left thigh over, and let the legs fall, other left, there you go, fall to the right. And then again, you might push into the back of your head. You might lift your right shoulder, slide the right shoulder to the right to allow more of the left shoulder to come to the floor. And then maybe your gaze will come to the sky. Maybe it'll go towards that left hand. But then on this side, just notice what you notice here. Where is the back of your skull in contact with the floor? How much of your pelvis is touching the floor, and where do you feel that? What's going on with the pinky toe side of your right foot? Do you feel an elongation or a diagonal happening across the back of the spine? Maybe from your right hip to your left shoulder. And then, of course, where's your breath? Oh, that's funny, Erica. And then on your next in breath, you'll gently come back onto your back. Gently unwind the legs and just take a moment to be still. Okay. Now, at this point, this is totally your choice. A last shape that I'll offer is a supported bridge. Some of you might choose to stay in that for the duration of our practice. Some of you might choose not to, but you'll walk your feet hip distance apart. You'll push down through your feet. You'll lift your hips. You'll slide your block underneath your sacrum. And ideally today, we're just going to use one block. And it's probably going to be on its lowest setting. And some of you will stay right there with your knees bent. Some of you might slide your right leg long on the floor and just take about 5 breaths here, feeling a nice stretch happening across the front of the hip flexor on the right leg. And those of you that have that right leg long, at the end of your 5th exhalation, you'll draw the leg in and then you'll switch sides. And again, you'll just take about 5 breaths, feeling an opening across the front of the pelvis. Okay, and this is where the choose your own adventure part comes. If your left leg is straight at the end of your 5th exhalation, you'll draw the leg back. Now, at this point, you guys can choose. Some of you will choose to stay here. Some of you will straighten both legs long. Some of you will make your way directly to Shavasana. So you'll choose what you wish to do at this point. You're choosing a shape that you can maintain comfortably for a few minutes. So if you find something, you choose something, you're like, well, that's not fun. Notice that and then change your shape. And then once you feel complete, you are going to your resting pose. So some of you will stay on the block, some of you will go to Shavasana. It is getting colder now, so if you need to cover your body, by all means, please do that as well. And then as you find yourself in your final shape, make sure you're comfortable, make sure you're warm enough. And then we'll complete by just taking a few rounds of breath. So gently exhale all the breath from your mouth. And then take a big breath in and a big breath out. And you'll do that 2 more times. Big, giant breath in. Big, giant breath out. Last time. Big breath in. Big breath out. Now allow your breath to fall into its natural, involuntary rhythm. And if you'd like, you can bring your awareness to wherever the breath feels most alive for you. So whether that's the abdomen, the rib cage, the chest, and just allow your awareness to rest at that part of your body as you watch the breath enter and exit the body. I'll leave you here with yourself for a few more moments, and I'll let you know when it's time to come out. Return your awareness to your breath. As you come back to your breath, just take a moment to check in. If there's any part of you longing to linger in this shape, by all means, please stay here. When you are ready to move on, allow gentle movement to re enter your physical form. You'll then extend your arms alongside your ears, wiggle and yawn in any way that feels good to you. And then start to make your way to one of your sides. Pause there for a few breath cycles when you get there. And then gently roll your chest more towards the floor. Use your hands to walk your spine to vertical. And then set yourself up on a block or a blanket or a pillow. And then when you are upright, if you need to, remove any of the flesh from underneath your sit bones. Bring one hand to rest on your heart. Bring the other hand right on top. Just take a few moments to soften the gaze if it's open, or close your eyes. And then again, feel one hand on top of the other. Feel the hands resting on the rib cage. Feel the movement of your lungs inside the rib cage. Feel the movement of the heart inside the rib cage. Every moment has the gift or the potential to offer us the gift of insight. Every moment has the potential to be the most beautiful moment on the face of the planet, if only we allow it. And sometimes what that takes is us slowing down, to committing to a couple breaths in each moment as it presents itself. So as you're here for these last few breaths, these last few moments, I invite you to recall that which you wish to be more present to, more patient with, more attentive to, and just set it as an intention for the rest of the day. When you're complete with that, bring your hands to heart center Anjali Mudra. Press the palms together. Receive the weight of your thumbs into your sternum, and then slightly lift the sternum to your thumbs. Soften your chin just a smidge towards your fingers and exhale all the breath from your mouth. Take a big breath in. Audible breath out. Inhale for Om. Join if you'd like. Om. Draw your thumbs to your third eye. May our thoughts be clear. Draw your thumbs to your lips. May our words be kind. And draw your thumbs to your heart center. May our hearts be open. The light and the breath within me honor and salute the light and the breath within you. Namaste.